Maruti Suzuki WagonR is a car we've seen on the Indian streets for as long as we can remember. And now, after 2.5 decades in the Indian car market, the Maruti Suzuki WagonR has just crossed the 3 million unit sales mark. So, why is this such a significant milestone? Because the WagonR is only the third car in the country's history to do so, after the Maruti 800 and the Maruti Suzuki Alto. But unlike the all-time national best-selling Alto, whose sales have declined when compared to the previous decade, the WagonR has just outsold every other car in the country for the second consecutive year. Which begs the question, just what makes the WagonR so popular when most of its contemporaries are either dwindling in popularity or have ceased production altogether? How has a humble family hatchback regained such prominence in the market when there are similarly priced offerings from more exciting segments in clear view? Nearly 25 years after it was launched in 1999, the WagonR continues to defy both logic and convention. It originally arrived in the market to counter the success of the Hyundai Santro, which was a new, unconventional hatchback offering new tech like a power steering and a lot more headroom than any other hatchback had on offer. The Santro, however, lost favor with the market after one major update and was discontinued in 2015. It was brought back in 2018, but it couldn't hit its stride again, was permanently axed last year. Even the Tata Indica, which rode in on a similar premise, didn't make it past 2 decades. So what does the WagonR have that other offerings didn't? Well, here are 5 main aspects. For starters, it adapted to the times a little better than the competition. It was the first model to have a factory-fitted CNG unit launched in 2006, something that helped it reach the million unit sales mark by 2008. Today, 1 in every 3 WagonRs sold are CNG, with over 13% of the overall sales coming from the fleet and taxi space. And this is a claim no other car can make. Then, in 2019, when its original contemporaries had all but disappeared, the WagonR arrived with a new platform, a bigger 1.2-litre engine and a lot more features ready to take on another decade. Unlike the Santro, future iterations of the WagonR, especially in its 3rd gen update, evolved with the times but without losing its core essence. It always held on to its identity and remained a frugal, practical family hatchback, allowing easy egress and ingress, particularly for the elderly members of the family, and a spacious cabin with the same boxy shape that gave it such character and gave its cabin the proportions of a compact SUV. Despite its reworked exterior and a more powerful engine, it never had any sporty ambitions, nor did it try to court a younger audience. The WagonR, as they say, always understood the assignment. Today, the WagonR's price ranges from Rs 5.55 lakh for the entry-level model to Rs 7.43 lakh for the top-end 1.2 petrol automatic. It manages to cover several bases, with its price overlapping those of cars like the Tata Tiago, the Tata Punch, the Hyundai i10 Neos, and even the Maruti Suzuki Celerio. But none of the other competitors come close when it comes to a nationwide network of service points, which for Maruti Suzuki tallies up to over 4,000 service points. Hyundai, the second largest car manufacturer, doesn't even come close with less than 1,500 service points. And this makes the WagonR a surer bet in semi-urban and rural areas of the country, where its mix of compact proportions, its roomy cabin, and its easily available spares makes it the obvious choice. And given that it's available with a more powerful engine option, the WagonR manages to rope in even those aiming to go for a more plush segment but are unable to afford it. And finally, there is the shrinking entry-level car market. In 2022, Maruti Suzuki chairman R.C. Bhargav told CNBC that the small car market had declined by 28% owing to higher component prices and the switch to BS6 emission norms. And so, while the all-time national bestseller Alto, which along with the Espresso collectively sold a little under 233,000 units in FY 2022-23, the WagonR alone sold over 200,000 units for the first time. This puts the WagonR in that sweet spot where consumers dismayed by the high acquisition costs of entry-level cars can reach for a more premium model, while those unable to afford crossovers can settle for an equally practical if slightly less aspirational alternative. But the big question remains, can the WagonR see continued success further along the decade? Can it continue to fend off encroachment from small SUVs in the coming years? Well, with the flex fuel prototype already in the works, the WagonR seems to be future-proofing itself. And if the brand decides to make an affordable EV out of it, it could very well continue to be a national bestseller, perhaps becoming the second Maruti Suzuki car to hit the 4 million mark.